because at a certain distance the angle becomes too small and diffraction also plays a part. Above this waterline horizon will be everything that your eye can resolve above your eye level. For example, from the beach I can see about 3 to 4 miles of the water's surface, which in my field of view extends from my feet up to my eye level, and it represents my horizon and the limit of my sight up to my eye level. Now, there are hotels located about 18 miles away in this picture, and these hotels are above my horizon line, yet appear to be cut off by the horizon. Not because they are over the edge of a ball, this is simply the point where they fit in due to perspective, where objects that are closer are in front of objects that are further away, which is also a function of diffraction and angular resolution. I cannot resolve the hotels any lower because the angle is too small. If I could resolve the hotels lower, then logically I would be able to resolve more of the surface of the water at a greater distance. But we know this is not possible due to the laws of physics. However, if I were to go up in an airplane, I would be able to see the entire distance from the beach to the hotel, and I could also see that it is flat as a pancake. The hotel is not obscured by the edge of a magic ball. It is simply perspective and angle of view. The limit of what I can see above and below my eye level converge at what we call the horizon line or vanishing point. So check out this little experiment I did. In order to simulate the size and distance of that hotel, I took a small glass bottle and put it on the road and then filmed from ground level. Now the hotel is about 18 stories, which equals about 180 to 200 feet. I used 250 feet just to be conservative and to give it some room above the actual water line, and the distance is 17.5 miles. The glass bottle is 3.5 inches, so that meant that I would have to put it at a distance of about 107 feet to get the same ratio. Now when I started filming, I was standing up and I could zoom in on the bottle, the entire bottle, top to bottom, and then I pan out, I take the camera and I place it on the ground, and even on the ground it's actually conservative because the lens of the camera is still about 1 inch to 1.5 inches above the ground, so this is a conservative experiment. And when I zoom in, you can see now that the angle of resolution is just too small, and combined with the diffraction, you cannot make out the bottom of the bottle. It disappears. It is cut off, and that is exactly what you're seeing in those pictures and videos where buildings or boats are cut off at the bottom. Your eye cannot resolve the detail of the surface of the ground or the bottom of that bottle. It's just too sharp of an angle. And you can even actually see beyond the bottle where the road is again the same color, because your eye can resolve that a little bit better because it makes a curve and it's a little bit, the angle is a little bit better on the road beyond where the bottle is. So that's a pretty interesting little experiment and shows you the effect of diffraction and angular resolution. And again, even on the ground, the lens of the camera is about 1 inch or 1.5 inches off the ground, which when you compare that to the bottle, that is almost half of the bottle. So that would probably equal an observer that is about 100 or 150 feet in the air filming the hotel in New Smyrna. So if I was actually on the ground with the camera, I'm sure that the diffraction would probably cover almost the entire bottle, if not half the bottle, and it would look exactly like the waterline covering these hotels or these boats. But you can see the principle. It's verifiable and it's repeatable, so it's an explanation. We don't have to use the Santa Claus falling over the edge of a ball to explain what we see. If I'm standing on the beach at sea level, then obviously my field of view from my feet to the horizon will be much shorter due to the angle. Again, about 3 miles from the beach is approximately the limit for a 6-foot tall individual. Yet the distance of my field of view above the horizon will be much greater due to the angles. Therefore I can see most of a hotel 18 miles away, but again not the bottom of the hotel due to the angular resolution and the angle of perspective. The same principle applies to a sunset or a sunrise. The waterline horizon at the beach is about 3 to 4 miles out, yet the sun is thousands of miles out when it disappears due to the limit of angular resolution and light propagation. We can see the sun at a much further distance because it is so large and high in the sky. But just like anything else, once it gets far enough away from the observer, the angle becomes so small that it will disappear, the furthest edge first, appearing to go down behind the water. This is what you would expect to see based on perspective. Something closer will appear in front of something farther away. This does not mean it is due to a spinning ball Earth. It simply vanishes at the waterline horizon due to perspective. Even the sun is subject to the laws of perspective, angular resolution, and diffraction. With a sunrise, it is the opposite. We see the top of the sun first because it is approaching us. Therefore, the side that is coming toward us is the first section of the sun to come into our field of view due to angular resolution. And again, due to the laws of perspective, the sun will always appear to be behind the much closer waterline. Some will say that it is due to the spin of the ball that you live on, but I think perspective makes more sense, and the sun is simply coming into our field of view due to, again, angular resolution. The problem that truth seekers or flat earthers face when trying to expose lies and deceptions is that most people put their own brains on sleep mode, and they put their trust in the so-called scientific authorities to investigate and explain the reasons for phenomena that we observe from Earth. This is not to say that the scientific community is purposely promoting an incorrect model. What is happening is that everyone is so specialized that they only see a small portion of the big picture. We are basically compartmentalized due to the level of sophistication of technology and our economy. People are also conditioned from kindergarten and throughout school to conform, to obey, and repeat government-sanctioned science. People are conditioned to treat any questioning of the spinning ball Earth as idiotic and primitive. If you mention flat Earth, the reaction is guaranteed to be ridicule, laughter, or even anger at the stupidity of such a statement. No one likes to be wrong, and no one likes to be ridiculed, so there's not much straying from the herd in today's world. I personally believe there's a lot of compelling evidence that calls into question the scientifically accepted model brought to us by the politically created agency of NASA. If everything is exactly how space agencies and government scientists tell us, then we are going to need much more and reliable proof other than CGI images and silly old stories. It is amazing how academia conveniently forgets the debates that used to rage about the rotundity of the Earth, and not by idiots, by learned men and women. So, in closing, I just want to reiterate that there are other alternatives to the theories that were taught to us as fact by space agencies and the political scientific authorities. There are logical and scientifically accepted laws of physics such as angular resolution, diffraction, and perspective which can be applied in this pursuit. You don't need to be a math genius or have a PhD in physics to understand that there are physical limitations on our ability to see, even with telescopes and cameras. We need to have faith in our own ability to think and use logic and reason. Otherwise, there are many opportunistic groups of individuals who will step in and do the thinking for us. And these groups may not always have our best interests at heart. In fact, they will take advantage and control those who cannot or will not think for themselves. This, I believe, is the modern-day manifestation of slavery, where most people no longer think like humans, they simply repeat and react.